on.
Oh, okay.
Unless there's more people in there. Yeah.
That's fine.
So if he's the only one, maybe we can change the view, but
Try that too, for a second.
that might.
That's all right. There'll be more people on it. Before I forget the chairs. Probably gonna want to.
Either that way.
That works. Because they don't get too many people.
I try not to get.
Get hung, I should say. Right on time. Before we started, I reached out to Buddy, told him that Matt would probably contact him. Matt, actually, not Matt, excuse me, Eric.
Yeah.
Would, probably contact him. Eric should have Buddy's phone number,
Okay.
so. If he doesn't, let me know, because I didn't have it. I reformatted my phone and lost everything. As we figured out when I had you call me instead.
Right.
Is a Rexford system in the trail map of Polaris Ride Command?
I'm sure it's not.
No, 'cause I just downloaded the latest version. I thought someone said it was in there.
I'll,
So, like, it's in mine because I've wrote it. But one of the things I was gonna mention is we can, as a club, join Polaris and what is the other one, the Trail Master, or GPS Trail Masters, or one of the one that does the trail maps. If we join them, we can get access to that on our trail maps.
so what is his name? He runs one of the web pages up north. And he came down and had the loops in and I had the other road at
Yeah.
one point. But if you already have it, you'll probably just dump it in, well, you don't care.
Oh, okay.
But
That's what you run, the Polaris? It shows you all the trails and stuff.
Yeah.
were you able to get that, PPE stuff for the chainsaw stuff, or you didn't?
I looked at it and that's about as far
That's
as.
fine.
But what was voted and approved would be enough to cover.
Yeah, there may be some discussion about that, too. I guess we'll give it just a little bit longer. Looks like Mary Ann's the only one that came tonight, Zoom wise. So I'm probably talking too lightly. Can you hear me, Mary?
Yeah, I can. It's kind of an echo, so it's a little bit hard to hear, but so you may have to holler toward me.
Matt's gonna play with some.
Are all the meetings here?
They weren't for a while, but we moved it here because of the Zoom part of it, so we make it easier. This is all set up for it. They were in North Haverhill for a while. Tried this and then it works, seems to work okay.
And it's monthly,
Well, yes,
second Tuesday?
second Tuesday of every month until we stop at November.
Usually November.
Yeah, stops in November, picks back up after like April, is it right?
Yeah. We could start earlier.
March. I think it's March. Mary Ann, can you tell me if it's any better now or any worse?
Oh, the surface is really good, I thought. I was there the second day they were applying it, and Kevin was out on the grader working it, and he thought it looked good. When talking to Chief, he thought maybe we might need some vibratory packing, but I don't think so. From talking to Kevin, I think it seems pretty hard. I was out there a few days ago. I was curious because I wanted to see how it held up to Labor Day, traffic and all the rain that we had. And I was pleased. There was no puddles, there were no ruts, there were no washouts. The edges of the trail still look good. They hadn't flaked away. And I tried to reach down and grab a sample of it to put in a little baggie, for show and tell. And I couldn't do it. I had to take a rock and kind of crack at it to break it up. I just couldn't reach in and grab material. So it rode fine, like an old lady like myself on the bike, I just went right through it with no problem. I was curious as to what you have, have you been on it? Have you heard comments? Are people, surprised?
I haven't ridden it, Matt.
I rode on it, maybe a week after they put it down, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a smooth ride, and there wasn't a lot of dust, even though it was fresh. So they'll see, it'd be interesting to see how it holds up dust wise long term.
I went September, and it was perfect smooth, no issues or anything, no ruts. It was super.
Yeah.
Good. I'm really glad we'll all be keeping an eye on it, over the weather for the next, bunch of months in the winter and see how it goes. But Chief was really very confident about this material, so he knows. So my other question for you while we're still on it is that originally, I realized that you were spending a certain amount of money to do improvements on the trail. And then of course I waltz in and say, we want to try a higher, more expensive, higher grade material on the surface, which costs more. And I'm ready and willing to pay my share of that, an upcharge or something. And I would like you to determine what my contribution would be, since I've heard from you and from Clinton both that we don't need to do an upcharge, but I still think that there should be a contribution toward this project from my group.
Okay, so, because of the way I wrote the grant, I had written it for the larger amount anyway, so that part of it would have been taken. I know you mentioned a figure in your email. Do you want you can do it as a donation to the club?
Mhm.
Or whatever, it don't have to be that amount, whatever amount you'd like. That doesn't have to be earmarked literally for gravel stuff. We could do it future projects, whatever that way. Or we could earmark it as gravel, quote unquote, whatever the surface is. They wouldn't be, as a club, we wouldn't be able to put any more of that in because it has to have a grader. I don't have, because it comes out of the dump truck. So this year wouldn't be able to grade it out like like Clint would do. But if you wanted to do that, we could obviously use it in some other spot or a different area.
Yeah.
Another area, another year, whatever, that way. That's totally up to your people.
Do you think we should wait before we do any more? Make sure that it holds up the way we want it to, and put this toward next year? Or do you need bridge decking work? Or, I know there's some places the bridge decking is kind of in bad shape.
Right.
But, that's time and labor too, not only expense.
Right. The other thing that Matt's brought up to me too is the side of the trails is growing in. If you're not in the middle of it, if you're not in the center of the trail, like you guys on the bike, you're mostly on the side, things are growing up. Trying to think how to get that mowed back. This time of year, it's not so bad because it's gonna be fall here pretty soon. You don't have to worry about that. And your snowmobile groomer has a nice little chopper on the side that takes quick care of most of that.
Mhm.
But it doesn't work good without a set of wheels. But anyway, like I say, while we're on that subject, I don't know if you wanted, to put that into that, we'll call it a donation for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
This year, next year, whichever is easier for you, or whatever you think as far as that goes.
Okay, well,
And I know
yeah, I
you-
think
Here, if you know what I mean.
I'm sorry, say that again?
And I know you wanted to pay part of that share, as I call it. But, like I say, at this point this year, their grading and, or as I'm calling it, filling and grading is done for this trail for this year.
Mhm.
So we'd have to either work at it next year or, if you want to defray that cost this year, we can do that. But
Well-
that's up to you, not up to you, but up to your, people.
Okay, why don't I make a donation and we can talk about what a smart thing to do with that donation is, whether it's to save it, to
Mhm.
add to next year's resurfacing, with This Works, we're gonna want to do another piece of it. I can
Right.
think of some places like over in Bath that, from the covered bridge, going north, it's kind of bad in there. And maybe be able to do another chunk of this, with this donation or whatever else comes up. So I'll just look at it as a donation to the club, and how about, at some point I'll come over and talk with you about it.
Oh, yeah,
It'll be-
that makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Okay, good. Well, I'm just really appreciative of being able to work together. And if it works for all of us, it's a really big deal. Because there's, as there's all this conflict between the motorized and non-motorized. Like, well, no, wait a minute, we can make this work. I'm going to throw in too that I get a lot of comments from people who are biking or walking on the Ammonoosuc Rail Trail, and they constantly say that the people on the ATVs are really kind and courteous, and everybody kind of slows down and just, everybody stays to their side, and everybody waves and everybody smiles. And it's really been consistent. And I don't know if that's true everywhere in the state, but your club members and the people that use the trail seem to be, aware that cyclists and walkers are out there and are sharing the trail well. And I guess I need to hear if there's a problem from the other side, because cyclists can be jerks pretty easily too. And, I can't control that, but I can at least, put something out on my Facebook or on the website, giving them some instruction as to what to do when they're on this trail and there may be ATVs coming toward them. So just let me know.
Basically stay in, I'll say it, trying to say it politically correct, stay in your lane. In other words, if you're on, even if you're on the left side of the trail, when you're biking, because it's better for you guys to be on the left side of the trail, those ATVs don't care, they'll go on the other side.
Yeah,
They
just hold the line.
Yeah, wherever you are, the ATV doesn't care, it'll go around you. If it's easier for you to be on the left side pedaling, go ahead. Most of the time, if we're coming towards you and for some reason you're on the wrong side of the trail, ATVs are gonna stop to find out why you're over here. Because
Yeah.
you're going around an obstacle that they don't see, and they wanna know why, and they don't wanna run over it. Or it's a bad spot for you guys to pedal, and if we stop, if something happens, you guys are much easier to either, you can step off your bike at that point.
Right.
Have to.
Yeah,
I think the
just
biggest thing
hold the
for-
line.
For them is, and I feel bad even when I'm riding and I come across the bikers, and that leads back to the whole grooming, getting the trail cut back, because it's so overgrown that there's no place for the bikers to even get off without getting thrown into the brush on the side. So I think that's a big thing that us as a club, because it's a multi-use trail,
We,
we should talk
Well-
about.
as a club need to put those, marker brushy weedy things back out of the way.
The growth this year on the presidential was amazing. And considering that it was quite dry, the stuff was well over our heads. It was amazing. And I'm just wondering, I know the Bureau of Trails, they mow the trail every 3 years, whether it needs it or not. And I'm just wondering whether, some of the money that I can help contribute, we could put into mowing every year.
So that, actually, we're talking about that kind of on a quick, fast type conversation today. Both of us were working of putting in a grant to mow it every year for quote unquote the club to mow it with whether Clint mows it, we hire somebody to mow it or whatever, but putting in a grant to mow it every year. and push it back. The first year, push it way back. Yeah. Like, push it back far enough that you might not have to mow it for a year or two. So.
right, yeah. Well, when,
But each year, not just every 3. So,
right. When Kevin did the work behind the furniture plant, he went in there before Chief went in, and he pushed back all the grass and everything and kind of helped, graded it up, give it a touch up. It made a huge difference. The trail is wide now, plenty of space.
they put the grader in there, it does widen it out for sure, but it doesn't move your overhead growth is what we were trying to be. I don't care if it's up way above your head so much, you know what I mean? But for the stuff that's, say, head height and down, especially bicycle head height and down and ATV height, you don't want to be going through, trying to move over, and then you've driven through a blackberry bush on your bike, on ATV even, which is what happens a lot of times, so.
Well, they went through and when they did the gravel, they took the grader right down the straight line and widened that way.
Oh, yeah.
Pushed that way back and it
Yeah,
just
way-
makes a difference.
Right.
Big difference, so it's good. Okay, all right, well, good.
We're talking about that at the moment. So have you ridden it at all recently?
We did once, we don't even have a machine yet.
Oh, yeah.
We're supposed to be getting it.
Yeah.
We're still waiting.
Yeah.
But we rented and we went with the tour
Yep,
a couple weeks
so
ago.
where we're talking is in from basically behind DCI, the furniture place there.
Okay.
If you rode by it, you would hear little pulleys squeaking all the time.
We went from where Sunoco is
Yep, oh, so you went.
and we went this way.
Yeah, so you would have gone right.
Right. Yeah,
right
it would
behind.
have been, it's actually right over this way, a couple hundred yards or so. When they stop, and
They stopped at the first gate just before the,
Way before the time.
oh, yeah, so on the top of the hill there.
or the first gate before you get into the acre, right?
Gotcha.
That's where they stopped.
So you didn't do it. So, but there's not a lot of distance, but it's much nicer in there, because that was
Big difference.
well, it's quick distance. I walked it the first night, they put it down. My,
A little further than you thought.
well, of course, they hadn't got this way very far, so it was a long walk to find it to
Yeah.
where it was. So I wish I had my bicycle with me. But anyway, so that's good. We'll take a look at that, and then you and I'll talk and see how that goes.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, so I didn't call the meeting to order, but technically we did. We're not reading minutes this month. We don't have a secretary. If anybody wants to be a secretary, as someone they want to volunteer for a secretary. Basically, you just take notes of the meeting, and then you just type them up so I can read them the next week. Right now, we're doing it as a recording, so it's a little bit easier. Hello, Ken. You don't hear if you hear me or not. Nope, maybe. Is he muted? You know? No. It's all right. He'll come into it later. So, whoops. You got me 2 pages. I'm not supposed to do that.
I think it's not doing anything at all, and it was winning.
So I'll read the treasury report. So the balance as of August 22nd meeting was $19,676.76. We had bills this month totaling $1,568.64, of which the bills were K&R for porta potty cleanings from end of May, June, and July, which is $385. And then had reimbursement for some items to Matt for the tractor and some other things for $98.97. Nova dues were $50. Vista Print for the signs that were approved a little while ago for $174.94. And then we also just got a bill for August from K&R. We actually didn't get a K&R bill till just recently for the early stuff. They just sent me another bill for $140, so that's in this month also. And then I also have Fogg's Hardware for the chainsaw and the trimmer, which was approved for, originally was, I think, $500 now, if I remember right, last month. I believe it was not to exceed $500, but we'll talk about that, because the chainsaw and the trimmer were actually $698, so they're $198 on the trimmer. We made a bank deposit from Nova for $490, and our new balance is $18,598.02. And make sure you give 2 cents. So we need to talk about, before we go on, we need to talk about the excess chainsaw money. The reason for the excess chainsaw money is that it was originally looked at as a DeWalt, and I realized the DeWalt bar on the chain was about an 8-inch bar. The only full-size chainsaw bar that you get was one of the Egos, which is a commercial top-of-the-line chainsaw. In doing that, that changed the price of the chainsaw by a little bit, but in doing that, the trimmer, the batteries would not interchange with each other. So for the difference of that, we moved up into a now collapsible, and it actually pops apart in 2 pieces, easier to transport. Batteries are the same. Chainsaw is a full-size chainsaw. It was that much more, basically, for a couple $100 more. So I technically haven't opened the chainsaw yet, so if we want to go back to the other chainsaw, for less money, that's okay. But I would take a motion to spend the extra money.
Is the trimmer a bar trimmer or a weed whacker? The trimmer, is it the trimmer a bar trimmer or a weed whacker?
It's a weed whacker. I tried to get one with a blade, because we really need one with a blade. They won't make one. However, there is a head you can add onto it later on in life. That as long as you don't tell them you're gonna put it on the regular trimmer, you can add it, because I don't like to do that. But
Those are battery operated,
those are both battery operated.
because I have gas, Ryobi gas, and I got the blades on that.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose you got more power.
Well, what it is they want the two-hand, in order to put a blade on here, they want a two-handed trimmer so you can control it better, because that blade is gyroscopic. But anyway, like I said, it's just, in good faith, I didn't really think that would be a good idea to have just a little short bar and get a tree that you can cut. I mean,
I'll make a motion to cover the difference in whatever the chainsaw cost was.
well, the total.
Or the
between-
whatever the total amount was.
Yeah, so the total between the two was $190. So the extra would be from 500.
Make a motion to approve the $198 extra.
You can get it up there.
I second it.
So that would be, motion made by Matt Champagne, seconded by Scott Simons for the long life. All in favor?
Alright.
I have you, Mary Ann, thank you. So, enough in favor to say okay. I was looking for 5, that's what I was counting.
Yeah.
All right, so that's approved. So that was the only thing now I can get the cheats out of, see if it works right.
So I have a question. I don't know if it's a bylaw of the clubs or what. Does the president have an ability to spend up to a certain amount without a vote?
I don't know.
Because I know
I
like
think it's in the bylaws, it says everything.
a lot of groups allow you to spend up like $500 or $300 or whatever the amount is for any of the,
We can always add that.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Technically, all the ones that I did, really should have been voted on, ever paying for it.
I was just curious if there was a number in that where that would be.
So probably should. I think well, there's a laws and one meeting or another, we'll just add in there somewhere. Make it easier.
Never gonna say no to stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it's $200, yes, but at the same time,
You need it.
we voted and approved.
so here's the other answer to that. So we need a spare battery for the chainsaw in case we use it enough, we got, and it dies, right? the chainsaw was more than the trimmer. I mean, the chainsaw, another battery for the chainsaw was more money than the trimmer. With the battery. So. Just because of the package, if you know what I mean. So. That being said, the only thing I haven't done with that thing is I took the trimmer out because I knew that was gonna be covered, no big deal. Trimmed around all the signs and stuff like that on Augie's trail a couple weeks ago thereabouts.
Yeah.
And of course, I got almost to the end and ran out of trimmer string because I didn't ever even string that came with what I had, so I was figuring I'd just do it. So this, we'll purchase some trimmer string stuff. Obviously small amount of stuff for brushing oil and stuff like that, but it'd be fun. So we'll talk about the Poker Run. I ran into Frank Stiegler, who the Augie's Take a Break was named after his son. He used to do, because he worked for the bank, he was able to take care of basically all the food. He ran into me the other day in passing. I have not gotten back with him yet, but he's soliciting the bank to find out about food, whether they would be still interested in doing that as a community project. I have not found out that yet. Hopefully I get that tomorrow. But like I said, I haven't run into anything there. Worst case scenario, we'll just go from there.
What is it about?
So that's Augie's. So that is a poker run. A poker run. What they do is you pay $10 a hand. You ride your ATV to certain stops on the trail. This year you punch cards. You come back to the table and you get a poker hand basically. One of the best poker hands wins the 8 runs.
What do you go to a certain place and they punch your card?
Well, this one was going to be unmanned station this year.
Okay.
We usually have a manned station, we don't have the manpower to do it this year. The Warren Club, Mount Woodstock Club, they've done it for many years. It's a stake in the ground with a little bucket with a punch card.
Okay.
You grab your punch card, whatever station it is, you punch a hole out of your punch card, and you get 5, you go back to the, there's only 5 stations in there. You get five punches, go back to the starting spot. You draw your poker hand, whatever, and you report it, whatever the poker hand is. If you have the best poker hand, you win. $50 and
Sorry, Cassidy said she was in the starting.
yeah, can drive.
So, yeah, so there's a can drive, we're gonna donate the canned items to the food shelf. Everybody will get a ticket who donates a canned good, and we could possibly win a $50 gift card. So, and then there's the kid raffle. We call it a raffle, but every kid's gonna get something anyway, so.
So we figured that out a few years ago. We'll get to draw they get to draw a ticket out. The good part is there's only enough tickets in the bucket for the kids that came. So, which is, they still get to draw a ticket, which is neat.
Yeah, it makes them feel like they're actually a part of everything.
Now, this is across from Aldridge.
Yeah, right across the bookstore.
You get a lot of people show up?
We had, what, 50?
The last time we had between 50 and 70,
Wow.
but we haven't done it for a couple of years
We
because of
park trucks
COVID.
and stuff.
Well, usually we get lucky in a chop with a cornfield behind it.
Oh,
And we
okay.
just park and bring the cornfield.
Oh, all right.
But also though too, if there's not enough room, we can unload, and then they said we could park down at the town hall.
Yeah.
People just, it's not that bad of a walk,
Yeah.
it's a little walk,
Yeah.
but
Nice.
And technically, she said you can run that whole section to get over there.
yeah, that too.
Now, I don't
Go
know
ahead.
the subject. Matter of fact, the guy in Aldridge explained to us how the trail goes
Yep.
down the road and behind the, one in front of the golf course.
Yes.
It doesn't go down 10 anymore?
No.
Okay.
Well, it goes, so,
There's signs there.
so it goes down 10 as far as the ice cream. And it stops.
Right,
And it stops there.
okay.
So there used to be a trail there that got closed because it was purchased with federal DOT money, which in order to purchase it, had no, a clause in it that said no wheeled vehicles, which puts an ATV off it. Snowmobile doesn't have wheels, it does, but it doesn't touch. They don't touch, so it doesn't count. So that, we lost that trail, so that's why we have that bypass trail.
Okay, but there is still signs,
Correct.
gas attachment.
Those are all prohibited signs.
There's arrows
It wasn't past Hammond,
No, it's not, it's not for any action.
so the arrow probably is there.
I probably misread.
Yep, no, you're fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
so from where the pavilion is, you actually have to ride the road down to the Hatchland Dairy, to the ice cream shop. You can't ride that. There's that, you can still see it, but it is posted, you can't ride it. So you actually have to go down.
Yeah, I can see where the old trail.
Yeah, you actually go out.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's-
Okay,
which-
Because that new way really takes, we were looking at it on the map, really takes you out of the way. It's not that it's bad.
7.5 miles.
Nice views up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, that's why we
except for
call.
that one crazy man, if you running out of his house.
We're driving down there, when we hit the dirt portion.
Yeah.
We're in my pickup truck, and this guy comes out, he's got jeans on, no shirt, and he's going like this to us,
He's going like this to me in the car window, like,
like he's shooting us.
Whereabouts was that? I'm just curious. Do you know about where it was?
it's past the golf course, right?
Yeah, it was on the opposite side of the golf course, not that far down.
So, all the way to the top of the hill on the dirt, and then you made a left in front of the golf course?
We made the left before the golf course.
Yeah, just before,
All
yeah.
right, went down the dirt road, and it was maybe not even a half a mile down on the left side.
I wonder if it's that man that came and bothered you when you were putting up signs, the one who had a million questions. And
He was definitely
He
strange.
didn't seem like he was right.
Yeah,
I've had
yeah.
no problems with anybody driving down there, so.
Yeah.
That's very lucky.
Well, he could come out and stand in front of me, painting his hand at me, but then I'm gonna run him over.
Right.
Good for that. But anyway, let us know if it happens anymore,
Yeah.
please. So,
Yeah.
So that takes you down,
so that goes all the way across. And then it comes down by the hospital eventually. Well, no, not yet. It goes all the way down to, is it Goose Lane? Sorry. On the other side, the right is. Goose
Yeah,
Lane.
you come down Briar Hill and Goose Lane.
Goose Lane
Take a
goes,
left.
and then you'll come down by the hospital right in front of Walmart.
yeah,
And then it turns in front of Walgreens, or the Walgreens?
right in.
Yeah, you got right
Right.
in, and then you go
And then it scoots in by
Shiloh's.
Shiloh's and goes back in, and then it picks up the rail trail right there.
Okay.
Far end. So that closes October 31st.
That was one of our questions.
Technically, I've been told it's November 1st, but this, I only got approval from the town for October 31st. So it's gonna close like October 31st.
Now, you don't have to belong to a club to ride,
No.
correct?
No,
Okay.
anywhere in New Hampshire, you don't have to worry about plugging into like that, a trip.
Now, this club does have their own private trails though?
Technically, we do have a new landowner private trail on top of Burndy Lane.
Okay, it's just something I saw on the website.
Yeah, we have a landowner that joined this year. He has trails at the top of Burndy Lane. So if you know where the trailhead is in Littleton, parking area in Littleton, sorry.
We know around there,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
She's good with that stuff.
So the parking area actually lost a section of that trail too. It looks like it's prohibited, but come down that road, down the road itself, there's a sign that puts you onto the rail trail to the right, and to the left is Burndy Road all the way to the top, and it squares at the top of that.
Bernie Road is called?
Burndy,
Yeah.
Will you drive your regular vehicle up there and,
no, you drive.
oh, you can drive the,
There is a little parking area up there if you want, and there's truck and trailer and load, it's only like maybe 3 trailers.
Yeah, it's not a lot of them up there.
but most of these trails close in the winter? Here?
Every trail in New Hampshire closes except for Eminence Valley ATV Trail, Rail Trail,
Rail trail.
Henniker, I believe, which is Downtree, and Rockingham. Out of the 3, the only one that is 65-inch friendly is this trail.
What about Jericho State Park?
Nope, they closed. No,
No,
sorry.
the park itself is open.
No, I mean for wheeled vehicles.
Yes, the park itself is open, but nowhere around it.
That's not what we were told,
What were you told?
that they are open for the winter.
No, Jericho, the park itself stays open.
No, for wheeled vehicles.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it is open.
Yeah.
Just the park though, they keep,
It's weird, there's trails out of the park, but just the park itself stays open for wheeled vehicles.
Oh, okay, so you have to stay to
Stay in
the
the
trails
in the Jericho Park, yeah.
Okay. We've never been up there, so
It's okay.
It's confusing.
this is all new to us.
If you're new, don't go there on the weekend, please.
It's packed.
It is packed and nobody cares about anything.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
So,
You like that.
but, yeah,
Back to the poker run, let's say if we wanted to park in Littleton,
yep,
I just get a 3x5 card, hit the punch stations and
Yes.
register when I get down here.
yep, we have no problem with that.
Okay, it's probably punch for us to do that.
Well, probably what we, since we're close and it's you, I'll probably wind up with a different colored punch card. And I'll put a bucket a little bit. Just,
Yeah, we can
card.
put a bucket, yeah, definitely.
just
put a
cards,
bucket
we'll just put a,
cards.
we'll just put a different color in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever, just 3x5
Yeah.
card, piece of paper, whatever. just-
Yeah, I don't so much care about the punches, just
Yeah.
when you come down, see registered. And
Can you buy it at hand for $10?
Yep.
Okay,
And
I
actually,
mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If I don't hit it. Yeah, okay.
Right, I mean, if you want to just ride down, no big deal.
Yeah.
So.
So we buy the hands at the site
At the
that
site.
morning.
Yeah, so usually you buy your hand before you leave, but it doesn't matter this year because it's not a manned site. Used to be you get a card as you go. What happens is you get a card as you go, you get a group of people, so you get a group of 10 people. You get, this guy's got 2 hands, this guy's got 2 hands, so now you've got 20 hands through these people. This guy's handed an ace, this guy's handed the king, this guy's handed the queen, and all of a sudden they get together, hey, I got a good hand, here, tell us.
Oh.
It gets
And
really
it's not-
confusing too.
It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so
So
that's,
this way, the card just
This
gets
way-
punched,
yeah,
and then
you,
you come back.
yeah, and then you come back and you can, we're gonna wind up with a deck of cards all spread on the table, probably 2 or 3 decks. And whatever comes out of it, comes out of it. You may wind up with, or you wind up with
5 aces.
You wind up with 5 aces. You just- Whatever the hand is that comes out, it is. We used to do it that you could pay so much extra and you could change a certain amount of cards for whatever. So if you got a bad hand, you want to change cards, or you want to change 3 cards, you give me $3 more bucks.
Yeah.
Change cards.
Sounds good.
That's more of a pain, but
Not
it
really
works.
bad.
So the card is just show that you went to.
Yeah, just say you went to it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter, but it does. And just so that way you're trying to get the people that are in the poker room to go to certain spots.
Okay.
To try to show them where your trail is
Yeah, because a lot of times some people have never been here will come and it just kind of like the loops, like nobody goes down the loop, so.
until they need to go down the loop to get a punch. So now they know it's there next time they come.
It's always my first stop, hitting the loops. Something different.
Yeah.
Will there be different stops with different people or just 5 stops?
No, it'd be just the same 5 stops.
Okay.
But,
Okay, we're looking forward to it.
yeah.
And we better have our bill.
Hopefully you get your machines. So, hopefully you have a machine, which is, it is what it is, but hopefully it'll work.
Yeah.
So,
Luke's bicycle. Go right on it.
yeah, that'll work. So Jody and I went to, a list of places that, are in the North Haverhill. Where else do we go? North Haverhill, North Haverhill area. So far, we've gotten 3 raffle items back so far. One is from Patton's Sporting Goods. Where's the other one? Obviously-
Sunny Garden.
Yeah, it's a Chinese place right on the trail, Sunny Garden. And then we did get one. Kind of interesting. Usually wound up, as one of one of the more special prizes at the poker run, which I can't say too much because it's recorded this year. So, and then I have to check back with the ones I left with. You've probably been busy, I know, but I do have a paper if you want to, so that, she can get you, do you have it with you?
What?
Solicitation paper?
No, he's got to come on.
Oh, yeah.
Those-
That's all.
Yeah,
That's all right. He's probably got it.
He's probably still working on somewhere.
So, so a couple things, because we won't be meeting before the October meeting. I need to get, we need to purchase, the club needs to purchase a $50 Visa gift card for the food drive raffle. So I need a motion to spend that $50. Anybody would like to do that?
It'll be $50 plus the fee though, because it
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
plus the
fee.
fee,
I
sorry.
don't remember, it's like a $5 fee or
It's
something.
yeah, it's. And then, of course, we're gonna need some supplies and things like that.
And stuff
Do
for
you still have
kids.
any stakes at all up here?
Yeah, funny.
I think I got 4 or 5. Did I give you 2 bundles, right?
There was like 4 levels, I got plenty.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I didn't know how many you were gonna use.
Well, we ended up using a lot of the trees, which was.
Okay, so we went up with extra.
So we
stakes later on this one.
We are, yeah, we were.
We're staked out.
Yeah.
Perfect. So basically, what we usually do is, small buckets on a stake with, which we used to use. They used to leave the buckets there, somebody could pull a card out. Those buckets are now gonna house the puncture and, puncture,
The bunch of-
yeah. So that way, it doesn't have to be huge, I mean, it can be a can, I don't care.
Gonna attach it to it, so no one
Yeah.
walks off with it by accident.
Yeah, we usually wire it right to it. And then, so basically some stuff for the poker run is budget for the kids' prizes. They, as we said, all the kids get a prize, whether they, no matter what. We need to, so we kind of, so the kids' side of it, we will take a budget and then somebody usually goes to somewhere to purchase them. A couple of years ago, yes, not someone, Jody, you goes to purchase them. Last year, we wound up, 2 years ago, Blackmont Equipment was in business. I went and solicited them for a donation and mentioned that we might be interested in some kids stuff. The person that was donating says, so on the day of your poker run, you come see me, tell me how much you need for kids stuff, and we'll figure out what you need. And that was how we wound up with the kids prizes that year. They're no longer Blackmont Equipment. I kind of went there and I didn't get a real warm fuzzy feeling from the person I talked to, so I'm sure that's, might be a little different, so. Like I said, so we need a budget for the kids prizes. Not knowing how many kids you're gonna wind up with. They don't have to be very big. What do you think?
No, but I was thinking, so if we get the solid budget, and if we end up having any left over, then maybe we can just donate them for, to the, Christmas there, the Christmas present drop-off thing or something.
Right.
You know,
Toys for Tots or whatever.
Yeah,
Something to
yeah.
that effect. So I guess, so there'd be there'd be $50 for the Visa card plus the fee. And then whatever the club wants to make a motion for a budget for the kids' prizes. And I'm open to whatever you guys think.
200 enough, I mean, I don't know.
So I make a motion to spend up to $200 on the Visa gift card and kids on it.
They'll go to 250 and, I don't know.
I think you could probably get away with 200, with 150 for kids. They usually don't get more than 3 or 4 driving all the time.
well, it's not just that, but some of them like actually hang out and whatever, because they're afraid of the machines.
Yeah,
I don't know,
so
I
I
think, yeah,
think 250 would be fine.
250
So
should
it's
be fine, 'cause-
200.
or, yeah,
I mean, if you look at it the other way, if you're picking up like $10 items from Walmart, that's 20 of them. And then
But I
if you,
can't even get less than that.
right,
You
so,
know,
so yeah, 250 probably.
250, yeah.
yeah.
I make motions, 250 budget for the poker run.
You second.
I'll second.
Matt Champagne, second. Scott Simons, motion. All in favor? Cassie's not doing anything.
Hi, sorry.
Good girl.
Ken, are you still there? Just hanging out, okay. So enough in favor to, for 250. So that's good. You can get there, so that being said, River Meadow, in addition to the donation that they made for the club, for the
Friends.
that, River Meadow Campground is gonna be supplying the picnic tables to go up there, no charge. There are other weight tables if we need them, basically, all we've gotta do is drive down and whatever, we chose the right weekend, because the weekend before they're booked, the weekend after they're booked. So, we did good. But anyway, so they'll bring up picnic tables with their, forklift loader thing, and drop them all, just have to move into place whatever time there.
What's the date again?
October 1st.
October 1st.
Okay, yeah. I knew that.
I have the poker run sign from the former president. Have to change the date, obviously, because we moved from September to October, which isn't a big deal. It's also is the snowmobile club sign on the other side, I found out. For the rigger runs and all that, down there. So, which works out. So we also have, we had talked about it a little bit before, Horse Meadow Senior Center. They're collecting funds. We had talked about to see what they needed for a donation. We do one almost every year, but didn't do one last year. Most of the time they told us what they wanted. We just went and bought it for them. This year they're looking to purchase an electronic sign out front, which apparently is an extensive sign. What did I tell you they thought they wanted to pay?
I don't know, a lot,
It was like $18,000 or something.
something, yeah.
But anyway, it is, so this club kind of came from there. Not really in a way, but, so basically if this club folds for any reason, all the money in the club winds up at that same center. It's in the bylaws.
Yeah.
So without beating around the bush any longer, they're looking, or I approached them to find out what they're looking for, and they were looking for a monetary donation this year. And it seems like we're spending lots of money, but, so they're looking for around $500 as a donation to them.
But at the same time, though, since we actually haven't given them anything for
Right, so we
a
skipped,
couple
we
years,
skipped probably 2 years donating.
it adds up.
So that's
It's
why
about
I was,
right.
that's why the larger amount of money this year, because we didn't do it last year. Because we didn't really have anything last year. So,
I don't even think we did anything the year before.
actually, I think you're right, I think it's 3 years.
I think yeah, it's because of COVID.
We can discuss it tonight, we can table it for tonight, or we can go from there.
Well, we don't
When
even,
are they looking forward? I mean, when are they trying to, they still just trying to get.
They're,
Still trying to get their
not-
stuff.
Yeah, they're not buying until they get close to the money.
yeah.
I say we table it until we get our funds back from the state.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
After all the other projects.
Correct, I was bringing it again to the table to tell them, basically, this is the figure that they're out there looking for, but that's what I think.
I mean, I don't even think we have to go as high as 500 though either,
But anyway,
really, because they're doing all sorts of fundraisers with that one.
and I also told them
Also.
that it's probably not gonna be until the end of our season.
That's sad. I think we can table it till the last meeting and
Then
then
we'll figure it out from there.
see where we stand at that point.
Because there, so just so everybody knows, there's about $19,000 worth of gravel that's gonna come out of that account, but it's gonna go back in.
Yeah,
State's weird. You pay for it. You send them the check saying you paid for it, and they pay you for it.
yeah, but
Why don't you
you're
just write the check? It's just, it's
Because
the,
it's a state.
it's the way, yeah, it's the way the governor.
We came from New York, so
Yeah, it's the way the
we
governor,
know bureaucracy at its best
it's the way the governor's,
and worse.
governor's council works. It has to go through checks and balances so that, but anyway.
Check has to, you have to send in a canceled check.
Actually, I got it one better this time. If it says paid by check number on the invoice, and it says 0 at the bottom, like it has a bill paid by check number and that amount, they'll now accept that.
Must be something new,
Because they'll have,
a great need, you have it.
well, yeah, that's the normal.
Yeah.
But I said, well, what happens if I pay it with a credit card? Well, if it says, you give me the credit card slip that says your credit card just got your information on it, we'll accept that too. Which will be perfect, because it's writing checks out of this writing checks is a really hard thing to do out of this bank account.
Is that what you were talking with this woman about, the excavator and stuff?
Yeah, this is Mary Ann. Mary Ann, can you just wave?
Hi, Mary.
Sorry. So she has, tell me your affiliation again. It's Cross Vermont?
Across New Hampshire Adventure Trail.
So where do you start? Burlington?
Woodsville,
Right, but Woodsville's in New Hampshire. But you come,
Right.
can't come all the way to Vermont, right?
well, yes, the Cross Vermont Trail, it's a separate group. They start in Burlington and they
Okay.
go through Montpelier and they end in Wells River. And then I picked it up from there, from Woodsville, Bath, Lisbon, Littleton, Whitefield, or Bethlehem, Whitefield, Jefferson, Randolph, Gorham, Shelburne, and Gilead and Bethel, Maine. Yeah.
And this is human powered.
Right, right. Yeah, bike, walk, ski, horses, llamas.
Llamas. Yeah.
Oh, so we gotta watch out for horses on the trails?
Oh, there's horses. So technically horses have a right of way, or not technically. Horses have a right of way. Our rule of thumb, not on this trail, but rule of thumb is you counter a horse, pull or shut it off.
yeah.
Wait for them to go away.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's when we were riding, like, we had bicyclists and joggers, and we would stop, pull over and stop.
Yeah.
And let
So,
them pass.
well, you can, most of the bicycles and joggers, as long as you're overside, on the edge, we just wave and go along. So most of them are like, okay, thanks, see you.
Well, she had asked us to stop, so we didn't blast in the dust.
Yeah.
This dust was
Yeah.
interesting.
I was told, when you stop for the bicyclists, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, no rush.
Never know place to go,
Yeah,
so, but.
just for ice cream.
But anyway, so Matt, did you get your Vistaprint signs as of yet?
Yep,
Okay, so you have them? But
they're at the house. I'll get them up before the
no,
book run.
no,
but
that's okay.
They're a little bigger than I thought, but you'll be able to see them.
Bigger's better. Do we need any lumber or anything like that to put them up, or you have a place to put them?
Well, that's what I was gonna work on, trying to figure out what's gonna be best, where I can put them. Because they're pretty good size,
I mean, because we can purchase plywood and put on, and put them on.
yeah, I may have to do something like that, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, and then the other thing I need to touch on is when they approve the gravel, they approve the state,
4x4s.
yeah. So at some point after sometime after the funds have entered the account, we need to purchase those and then get that receipt to them. And then they'll reimburse us for those. And then we can figure out where those belong. Because we'll probably need a postal there.
I was gonna say, we're gonna either rent one, just a gas powered one, because most of them are all right at the intersection of roads anyway, so you can
So you drive
drive
right.
right to them and.
Well, yeah, if they're intersection of roads, that's the way to do it. Just go rent one for whatever.
One for a day.
Whatever this-
Is that for the trail signs?
So the snowmobile guys and the groomers, they knock over all these posts. But anyway, to help the snowmobile club out and us out, some of the 4x4 posts have broken off. And I had the opportunity to get them with grant aid, so I did. Then helps out snowmobile club, help us, and then it's this time of the year to put them in, because you're not gonna put them in the winter.
Right.
Scott's a snowmobile guy, I just have to pick him.
Do a lot of the grooming and stuff with the tucker and with the drag, I mean, it's quite wide.
Yeah, there's a few of them this year.
Yeah.
Snapped off, so.
You know, got a lot of new drivers.
Like I said, we saw them, and it was right in grant need time.
Yeah.
So when I think I put in for 10 of them, just because I didn't know how many for sure. But state's gonna pay for them in grant aid, so I might as well get them, and then we'll just get them in.
Well, if you need help, we can try to help you.
Yeah, once we get those in, that'll be
It'll be a weekend ago.
yeah.
The only thing I didn't put in was, if you want to put, like concrete in there.
Yeah, I'm not messing with concrete. When I talked to Clint, he just said, go down 3 feet, put them in the hole, put them in.
Mhm.
So 8-foot posts, and put them 3 feet in, and gives them 5 feet up.
Well, if it's only 3 feet, you can almost, and depending on the dirt, you do a hand post over there.
Yeah.
I can get one, I have one of those, one of my guys works go. I just put a mailbox in 6 feet.
And it just depends on where on that rail bed is hard as a rock.
Well,
Once you get it.
we put a mail post in at work, and in Bradford, the soil is so fine, you get to the bottom of the hole, you could go out.
Couldn't pick it up.
Couldn't pick it up, so my infinite wisdom, we used a shot bag. Pick it the last 2.5 feet. But, so anyway, the new logo, we were gonna bring out the new logo, but nobody submitted a new logo. Because you were sick, somebody didn't want to do one.
I
this year.
have a lot of stuff to
So we'll just table the new logo. If somebody wants to send in a logo, we'll take them, and then when we get around, we'll.
Yeah, I think we just keep posting it, and if we get them, we get them, and,
Yeah. That being said, we do need to get some club merchandise, I'll call it. We'll have to table that till October time, maybe we won't do anything until next year. But, the previous, was it previous president we had at the Trailmasters place, we wound up at the last poker run, second to last poker run, we were handing out sweatshirts and hats and all that because we couldn't get rid of any of them.
Yeah.
So we just started handing them out. And it was, luckily it was a cold day. It's like, hey, you go. So, but anyway. So we do need a club secretary. We can do it at any, so the person can do it at any point by watching the meeting. Basically, they just need to type up notes into minutes, which is kind of like bullets, so I can read it, and then they accept it. The club accepts it at the end. If anybody knows of a secretary, wants to be a secretary, wants to volunteer somebody for a secretary, are you volunteering? Very good.
Oh, thank you so much.
We will get you all the information.
Yeah.
And stuff.
But I'd say we volunteer.
Volunteer.
No, I was gonna volunteer her.
That's like, you volunteered, but you volunteered yourself. So, so very good. We'll, work on getting that fixed up for you.
Sure.
So new business, I really don't have anything else other than, we do need to solicit businesses up here, which I know you were sick, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
When you're out, when you're stuck at home and can't do nothing
Yeah, right.
and you don't feel good, I get that, so. But yeah, anything you guys, if you don't have that, your dad doesn't have that solicitation, whatever, let me know, and I'll get it to you before we print it. Make it easy.
Yep.
It's got everything on, it. Basically, you just gotta walk in, hey, I'm looking for information, do your information.
Yeah.
Right down to the 501 information, et cetera, or 501C stuff. Which makes it kind of nice, because you're like, here, I'm gonna get that to you, and we'll be back in like a couple weeks, or a week or so, we'll check on it. So, did you need to, oh, I didn't do your trail report. What, did you have a trail report?
Skipped
I
him.
know.
I know, I went right by it, sorry.
Whoever painted the rocks orange, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's like 3 or 4 of them. They're on the trail, big rocks that stick up, and some spray paint them orange, and it's,
Marion, is that you?
No.
No, it wasn't me. I didn't do that, but I was appreciative because those are pretty nasty.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it just have, it stands out enough where, oh, geez.
I'll go around that, yeah.
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 And then we should look out at the, I don't know if you mentioned the bath washouts and stuff.
I was just gonna say that, those need to be addressed, because those
So,
are getting pretty bad.
So, I mean, it's not bad now, I mean, we will be in springtime, high water comes.
so we'll talk about that for a little bit.
The roof falls again or whatever.
This year's grant, they had an option for unforeseen winter damage. Which was weird because you had to apply for it this year with a maximum of $10,000. Not knowing what you're gonna have for damage. So the answer is you apply for the max, which they gave us, which if the Bath area has issues next year, we have $10,000, we can tell the state, hey, you need to fix this, and they have to supply the rest, or they should, because now my trail's washed out, which is technically their trail.
Yeah.
But we have, so there's a lot of give and take between the state and this club, because the state does a lot of that side, we're just a helper. As you can tell with the Lisbon washout up here, which you probably haven't seen it because it's good. But right where the ball field is, right on, because it's not Lisbon, it's a wire mill.
It's watermelon, that feeling.
There's a wire mill field that's down off of the road, you look down, there's always geese there. But anyway, that little section washed out enough where you couldn't get through it. And there's, I think there's like 40 trees with the root ball. They stuck the trees in with the root balls hanging out, so it'll hold all that stuff in.
So is that closed right now?
Nope, that was this spring. They fixed it this spring, but it was quite a pretty penny, so. We're expecting that bath section to go away this year, and hopefully that'll fix that issue.
I'm surprised the state's letting go that long, because it is starting to come.
The problem is if if they just fix it, they get a DEA permit.
Yeah.
If they let it fall where it's now an emergency, you'll have to have it fun.
Yeah, they can get away with one.
It's gonna be bad for the snowmobile trail this winter, so, I mean, we just use an ice bridge, but you know, if we get enough snow, but still, it's awful close to the edge. I know we're gonna lose people this side this year.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
I hope we don't.
Well, I know, I went down toward the beginning of the year, because there was at least one 4x4 that I'd already gone down there, as well as some of the other caution stakes that I've washed down. I went down, picked them up, brought them back up, I put them back in and they're back down again, so.
So, I know I asked a lot of questions.
No.
The trails actually state,
So it's a to answer your question quickly, yes, it's a state trail.
okay,
The state owns it. We, as a club, help them maintain it to a point,
okay,
to the point where we can't maintain it. Like if we get a tree the size of this table, we're not gonna go cut that. That's on them.
right,
But you get a tree, something falls down the size of that little bowl, we'll move it, we'll make sure it works,
Got it.
you know what I mean?
right.
And at the same time, if you get, issues, we'll fix them as much as we can. We'll grade it as much as we can. Hopefully soon we'll be able to mow it. The
So you
state,
need like a brush mower?
yeah, the state mows it every 3 years.
Yeah, I heard you
whether it
say
needs it or
that.
not. They grade it every other year, whether it needs it or not. They're grading this trail's done for this year. It's just the section that we had. So, like I say, it's very minimal statewide, state help. We're there's basically the rail trail itself, that's all state. There's 2 loops off of it in Lisbon right up here, and then we have private landowner at the top of, near Littleton. And then we have a town section that you guys rode on in your truck. So that town section, we don't have to worry about, there's no grading, we just put signs up each year and that's it.
Okay.
So hopefully we will get that permit this year. There is a section of Mountain Lakes that is just an access to Mountain Lakes, and hopefully next year we're gonna work on getting across the road. I just gotta make sure that the power line in Mountain Lakes is part of the Mountain Lakes Road, because I think it is, but I'm not. And if that's the case, that we can get to there from onto French Pond Road with a crossing to the other properties across the road. There's many acres over there, already has trails, just needs to be upgraded a little bit here and there.
How long is the trail?
What's that?
How long is the trail?
Which part are?
Well, but in total, how about that?
The club's responsible for like 32 miles.
Because and 20 of that is rail trail.
About a 56-mile loop from Littleton to Ashlands and back.
We have a lot, it's spread out. A lot of clubs have it all, like, they might have 100 miles, but it's all
It's
Concentrated?
yeah, ours is, it's so spread out between 3 or 4 different towns, it makes it,
it's really hard to maintain.
yeah, because there's,
It really, to tell you the truth, it probably should be split up eventually.
it would, because if, I mean, we have the tractor in Lisbon, but if you need it in Haverhill,
It's a long walk.
it's gonna take you a long time to get there.
I walk, so I used to work in Littleton, and I lived in Havel Corners, and the last time that I brought the tractor to Littleton because I was doing some stuff in Littleton. Didn't have a trailer to bring it home, and it was near the middle of October. I walked it from Littleton to my house in Havel Corners.
No way.
It was some kind of cold.
Yeah.
That's about a 40-minute drive, right?
In a car, and that thing
In a
does,
car, yeah.
that thing does 13.5 miles an hour top speed downhill with a tailwind.
But that's if you don't hit any bumps, you hit any bumps, you're like,
Yeah. Well, you just put the bucket down so you don't.
yeah.
So,
It's rough. Speaking of that, did you ever find where the trailer is?
We have one, yes, we have one somewhere, so we'll find out what it is.
You should probably track that.
Yeah, that, and I know where one of the pieces of equipment is, that goes with a grade, there's a grade rate that goes on the back of that, I want to have rebuilt. My vision is to have it rebuilt so you can take the bucket off the front.
Yeah.
Put the grade rate on the front, and so as you're grading back,
You can,
your grade rate in the front, you can roll your bucket to how deep you need to go.
Yeah.
Then you can grade it, so. You don't go steer, but you can grade it.
So it sounds like the club does a lot of work.
We try.
A lot of
So,
people, not so
as-
many people.
Yeah, so before I came into presidency, there was a lot of older retired people that were in the club.
Mhm.
We had one guy that would leave his house at 6 o'clock, and go grade the trail and come back and have lunch. At 10, come back and go do whatever, and then go back out later, they would skull or cooler. The only ones that we have that maintain trails basically is people that work. Like Matt works full-time job, I work a full-time job plus. But there's not a lot of maintenance people.
Well, I'm retired, so I'll be able to.
There you go, there's your grader.
yeah.
It's not
Gotta
that
teach me what to do.
It's not that hard.
Nope.
Once you figure out how to get the grader blade through the gate, you're all set. The grader, the gates are 65 inches, the grader blade is 72.
You just gotta do a little.
Once you gotta go one way,
And
and
then swing.
then swing through, and it'll bring your blade around, and then swing your way back.
Are the gates true for 65?
They're 68.
Because
Other than the one right here at the crossing.
we're getting a CF moto that's 60.
You'll be just
Yeah,
fine. You'll wing through right that thing like that.
I got 50-inch, so I wouldn't have any issues, so.
How wide yours now? Yours,
Maybe a 64, maybe 65. It's tight.
so the answer to everybody else that's wide like that, look out the side, find the post with your front, the driver's
Front
side
tire,
tire
yeah.
and drive through, but drive straight,
Straight.
don't turn.
Yeah.
The problem is that the gravel's banked a little bit, you're gonna scrape no matter what.
The worst one I've noticed is right by Streeter Pond Road, because there's that big tree right there, and the upper post, you kind of lean.
The tight one seems at the culvert. To me, that's always.
That one
seems
is
at the
that-
culvert.
We
Yeah,
go around that all the time though.
Yeah, I see everybody,
I try to go through the gates, try,
that's the only one to me that seems tight.
yeah.
Well, and the other one we gotta try to figure out is this one over here, what I call the crossing where everybody goes around.
Well, can't you open the gates and go through with the grader?
You
Look,
could.
okay,
You could,
but you've got 20 miles.
But that's
and-
no fun.
You got
You
20
got
miles
like-
and 26, 20 miles and 26 gates.
you probably spend more time.
Obviously, it's time consuming, stopping, getting out, opening, driving through, closing.
So what we used to do is we'd send somebody up with an ATV about an hour before if you came up with a grader, send somebody with an ATV up through, open the gate, leave it open. Keep going all the way to the top, sit and wait. Or start coming back part way. And as you pass the grader, you went down through closing the gates as you're going down, turn around, come all the way back to close the gates that you got. And you would almost be there at the same time.
But now then, doesn't the grader have to turn around and come back?
Usually by the time we get to one end, we usually did grade two ways. Grading is technically on the back of a tractor. But for the state, they go through and they'd open the gates. And the grader would pop out on another road and then drive back the road. Otherwise, you wind up not being very good. So, take forever.
Takes a lot longer on the track than you think to get it there.
It was dark one night for me, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the wrong end. I started grading that one instead of grading this one.
Yeah.
It was dark. I called her, hey, come pick me up on the purchase.
Yeah.
I did do hammer down on September 9th, whatever that
Yeah.
was. The trails are still, the main trail is still marked, main trail and stuff, but that first time I had the wife and going up that, the one that says, we
Yep.
4x4 low. And it's kind of scary with the side by side. It
Yeah,
didn't bother me with the, four wheel, but side by side with her in it, she was doing some screaming. Of course, it's been washed out a little bit, so it's,
yeah.
In more shape.
yeah, it seems more steep now, but
I guess we'll find out.
There's been a few people online that have commented good things about that, just because it's different to get off the,
oh, yeah, I mean, it's
just
just,
get off the railroad.
yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, still didn't do any of the side trails because the map that he gave us is,
Sketchy.
You can't read it.
yeah,
So it's hard, it's very, so he has a map that, his surveyor did up, which is great, but none of the trails, and I talked to Eric about it, a couple weeks ago. Cause he wants to have the maps done up of just the Hammerlin intersection, which I'm cool with, but is he wants to put a thing at the bottom so you can just grab it when you go up in there. So you can, but none of he's got trails labeled up there with his own signs as he was doing.
Right.
Problem is, on the maps, there's
There's nothing marked.
Nothing marked.
With that name.
yeah, so
Right.
you have no idea what is what. I mean, I was gonna do it, but that, you're talking of probably a full day of just, one, you gotta have the map printed out and be able to figure out where you are on the map to start. And then that doesn't account for anything that he's adding, because on the far backside, he's adding additional trails.
Right.
So-
Always adding something.
Yeah, so it's very, I mean, the main trail, that's why that when we did that, we tried to stick to the main trail.
yeah, just did one loop.
Just get one loop.
A lot of the signs are only on one end of the trail, so again, you go right around, here's the other end of it with no sign on it, so you didn't know it was
This side.
that one not. But we did put the caution signs on the expert rock trail.
So you'll have some fun there.
Yeah, I know that there's one big mud hole. I think that's Eric's Challenge is what it's called. We go all the way to the end of the main trail and you take a left, it goes down to the bottom
That
corner.
was the one I shared with you because somebody shared it with me.
Yeah, that's got a big mud hole in it. So,
We'll avoid that.
In other words, don't take your Polaris.
yeah, so if you go to the main trail, don't take a left, just go right.
So, But yeah, I didn't realize there was water up in there, and as far as it was.
There's a few spots with some
Yeah.
mud.
Well, when I saw that, I'm like, check this out.
Yeah, there's a few spots up there. Actually, I know when Eric was creating it originally, because Clint had gone up and looked at it before, there's a few trails that Clint recommended probably to close because of water.
Well, yeah, you get, somebody from the DEA up there, inviting more people, and they'll just shut you down.
Yeah. So, but it is, so there's a mix of kind of everything. There's rock crawling, there's regular trails, there's water or mud, logs that you can go up and over. It's a little bit of everything.
Didn't look like there's much usage up there, I think, when I went up and these.
Well, a lot of people don't realize you can go there as well as.
Yeah, it's been shut down for a while too, so.
Right.
There's really no sign at Grundy.
Well,
It's like-
so
there
that-
is one, but you don't notice it because you're
Well, I put it,
focused on the main.
I put it up a little further, and that was a discussion I had with Eric. He was supposed to check with, the Littleton Industrial, because LIDC, because they're the ones that own where that sign is. You know,
Scott Manning.
well, Scott owns the property up there, but LIDC itself as a whole, they have that nice sign that's right there. And I hated to just go slap an orange sign on their lawn that says, you know, that way. So, he was gonna talk with them to see what they would like for us to put there, or what we can put there, and whether we had to get a nice sign made up that actually points so it kind of blends in with the rest of it and it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So that's why there's not one on the corner.
It's probably good right now until all the trails are marked and labeled.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say someone's gonna get lost up there.
That's okay. Getting lost and getting back out is half of the fun.
Yeah.
But when you go around like 7 or 8 times, like, I know I just passed the backside of that stick twice.
And you can do that easily up there, so.
Mhm.
We definitely will have to go up and sign it again, but I think, I reached out to the police chief to see if he's had any complaints on either Industrial Park Road or Bernie Road. I haven't heard from him, so I'll check with him, because I see him every morning.
So
I should see him.
while we're on that subject, do you think we need to widen the quote unquote corner going to the right, going in?
I think they're gonna have to do something in that,
So in other words.
Off the road there.
because for me coming up Industrial or from Hammerland to turn down into that, I have to turn back up and then go.
Which is kind
But
of.
coming up, I'm okay. When turning out onto the road, it's okay. But when you go the other way,
Right.
that is a very,
You got plenty of room to go out onto the road, but you don't have enough.
yeah. So I don't know. And I was like, well, maybe you can cut the guardrail back a little bit, but I don't even think that's gonna help.
There's an excavator there a couple weeks ago on the corner, so I don't know if that was Eric doing some work.
Eric, when they first opened that, Eric and Clinton had gotten together, and Eric's guys went down there with an excavator and tried to widen that path.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you come up out with your.
Yeah.
But the
So-
corner, so I don't know how much bigger you can make that corner other than cutting that guardrail back to, so it's not as straight of a,
So
like,
maybe they can cut the guardrail back some, maybe we can extend call it the cliff that we're driving down, maybe we can extend that further over. Even if we gotta put in, call it a wall, a timber wall there, get
Yeah.
Eric to put us in the timber wall to hold it from getting down onto the, you know, where you turn.
it's just, it is a tight to get back into
I
that.
think if they move that guardrail some, that would help too.
Yeah, because the
Back.
guardrail actually they stick down quite a ways.
I was thinking if they move that guardrail back a full length
Yeah,
and pull the post out, then you make it down there with it, we can flatten that out easily.
right. Because it would give you a bigger area to go down and then get off.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's tight.
Yeah, so I don't, but again, I think that's one of those things that if we can work with the town over the winter with the guardrail, see how everything played out with people riding on the road this year. That's kind of what I'm waiting for, even in the Lisbon stuff, because I haven't heard any complaints of people riding on the road. But I think if that works okay, then next year or during the winter, go to Lyman and get them, see if they would be willing to open their roads, because if you can, then that opens up a lot of class 6 roads and also up and over to Hunts Mountain and then down into Monroe. So it would open up a very large
Another section.
section, all just using town roads to start, and then at least you could get into landowners, private landowners after that. Kind of using Lisbon as a guinea pig this year, see how it goes.
Nice.
We can also, if we can figure that out, worst case scenario, or best case scenario, we could probably ask to help with grant need with that, for that section to get what we need. Like the gravel would be taken care of, timber would be taken care of, because that's through the state, so we just need labor. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure with where it is, labor's probably not gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed is when I come down from Burnaby, I have to stop, back up, because I can't just whip off the road and come around. So,
Short and machine.
got all my shit. I get too many kids, I can't get this all.
One of the guys that posted one of the Facebook groups, he had his letter and it says Daddy Candy on the whole side. So anyway. So I have nothing else unless anybody else has anything. Mary Ann? You have anything else that you'd like to talk about?
Well, maybe one thing, just, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with graffiti on the trail at all, but the two trestle bridges in Littleton there over the river, just between 302 and the Rail Trail Village just got totally graffitied over Labor Day weekend. And I was curious if you've ever had to deal with that situation on the trail?
The ATV sign on the corner is graffiti, and then our snowmobile sign, the sign ripped off and graffiti on that at the bottom of that turn too.
Really? Well, I did notice when I went to Aldrich's the other day, down toward the new bridge across 302, right?
Yep.
Before you get to Woodsville,
Yep.
and graffitied the inside of that one too.
Yep, you noticed that?
Oh,
Yeah.
So yes, apparently we have, but I haven't seen it yet.
okay. I reported it to Clinton, obviously, and then to the police in Littleton.
Okay.
Maybe would you like me to report it to the police in Woodsville too about the bridge? Maybe it's the same people doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I just noticed it. That was the only place that I noticed it anyways down there, but that's really the only place that's got a surface that they could graffiti.
Yeah, the new bridge, like I said, the sign, as soon as they come up on, the dump road,
Yeah.
that little white sign's graffitied, and at the bottom are my snowmobile signs all graffitied, and the map's all ripped up.
So the new, where it says the Music Trail, black, brown sign, is that the one you're talking about?
I think it says ATV route, or some little white sign
Oh, yeah.
that's right at that, before you get on the tar.
Have to go put up some game cameras, we can't see them.
Must have been somebody on a wheeled vehicle or some sort, because it's a long distance walk.
Down, it's a pretty long walk to get down in there, so somebody had to be in a little vehicle. Maybe,
All the signs right at the bottom there,
Right.
both signs, and it's the same, like, symbol tag.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the tag on the new bridge.
Yeah, but the bridges, Mary Ann said the bridges, the trestle bridges were tagged too, so you figure those
Yeah.
bridges, the one by Industrial Park and the one in Woodsville, I mean,
they're all the same tag.
although the one,
I don't remember, the one that crosses Woodsville, that new bridge, I couldn't remember the symbol on that.
I can't.
But yeah, if you want to report that to Mary Ann, that'd be good. That way, if it is the same tag, they can get together on what's what. So.
Right, okay, yeah, okay, great. It's really sad. It's extensive. It's on the decking, it's on the railings, and it's on the ironwork. And it's rude and it's crude and it's ugly.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
We'll see if we can address that too.
Yeah, so I guess keep the eyes open on this stuff and I think if we just if you see it, report it. So that there's kind of, maybe all of us doing that will help to get them to be interested in trying to figure out what's going on here.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
What's that?
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see any trash on the trail when I went through, and I was Going to pick stuff up, I didn't see any.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of trash.
The only place we find a lot of trash, as Mary Ann knows, is Shaw's.
Hmm.
The entrance right beside Shaw's.
I actually, when I went down there, I did see a few beer cans by the porta potty, but.
The only reason those are there is those were in the porta potty.
Okay.
It's amazing how clean the state is, litter.
Yeah.
We came from a place where it's just everywhere.
Very good.
When you do see it, it makes it that much
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, it stands out.
Well, a lot of people just go pick it up, you know what I mean?
Right.
So if that's, is that anything else you had, Mary?
Nope, all set. No, all set.
Sorry, but, all right, if nobody has anything else,
I make a motion to adjourn.
sounds good. See you in a month, second Tuesday in October,
Thank you. Good night.
or we'll see you at the poker room.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. I'll try and meet with you sooner, when it's possible. I can come to see you, on the trail or something, and we'll talk about this donation thing.
Okay, or the other possibility is if it's easier, Marianne, we can do Zoom too if you want.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Okay, good.
All right, so far.
Yeah, you let me know when you have a chance to, guys, I know you're really busy, but when you can do it, I'll make it happen.
Okay, very good, Marianne. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Good night.
All right, good night.
Does the state thought of using ledge pack rather than the kind of gravel they did?
That is a little better. That's 5/8 State.
Okay, I guess ledge pack in my driveway is smaller.
Yeah, well, you have like 3/8. This is 5/8.
Okay.
But it's similar.
Okay,
They use that in, is it Derby? Bike trail? They use that in the bike trail in Derby. They did the entire surface with that.
and my driveway is like
Much.
cement using the small stuff.
Well, the only reason they didn't want to go too small is you don't get the longevity and the dust is much more.
Oh,
So they're trying to do.
yeah.
So
I mean, the stuff didn't seem loose moment, but again, I really didn't notice. I just, wow, boy, this is nice.
So the other answer to that is, I really don't want them to pack that down, because you guys are the groomer, are
Yeah.
gonna fix it for me anyway.
I'm wondering what it's gonna look like when we get done with the, you know,
What's the-
the snowmobiles.
Yeah,